Cell Replication and Differentiation, Section 4. Last time we met, we talked about mitosis and how it can be used, or the basic process like it, for asexual reproduction, whether that's cells in areas of high growth, to replace dead, dying, or damaged cells, or to make a whole new organism called a clone. Let's review what we learned. When a cell divides, one cell becomes two. Please remember, it's not making 3 total cells. That one cell will be replaced by 2 new cells. A unicellular organism will use this process for reproduction to make a whole new organism. But a multicellular organism is going to use division a little bit differently. A multicellular organism is going to use division to replace old or damaged cells, or to grow as an organism, or to divide cells that have simply become too big, and so they are unable to supply nutrients quickly enough throughout the whole cell. DNA replication occurs during the cell cycle, and it has to occur before the cell can divide. So it's going to occur during the S stage, which stands for synthesis of the new DNA. But cell replication, where we're making a new cell, occurs during the M stage, which stands for mitosis. If you look at this image on the left, we see an original cell. And in this original cell, it tells us it's an interphase. That's the normal life cycle. We see the cell begin to make changes to go through mitosis. The nuclear membrane disappears, and lo and behold, the chromosomes there are doubled. There are 2 chromosomes, but they each look like X's because there are 2 copies of that chromosome stuck together there. The 2 chromosomes are then lined up in the middle, and the 2 copies for each of the chromosomes are pulled apart and then surrounded by a new nuclear membrane. Then the cell will split its cytoplasm in a process called cytokinesis to have 2 daughter cells. Each of these daughter cells would have received one of those identical nuclei. This happened after the cell's normal life. So mitosis begins after interphase. This chromosome had 2 chromosomes at the beginning of mitosis. And it produced 2 daughter cells. And each of those daughter cells would have exactly the same number as the parent did, which is the number 2. And there you have a review of mitosis and DNA replication and how it affects specifically chromosome number. So now let's look at the second part of the process. We've talked about replication, but what about differentiation? Well, differentiation is important, especially for multicellular organisms, which begin as a single cell. And that single cell uses mitosis to become a group of identical cells that we call embryonic stem cells. Embryonic stem cells are super special. They are unspecialized, meaning they haven't taken on the characteristics of any specific cell type, but they can become any cell type. It's pretty powerful. Cell differentiation is when the cell becomes specialized for a function. For example, red blood cells are produced. They make a lot of hemoglobin so they can carry oxygen, and they actually kick out their nucleus to make even more room. But compare that to a muscle cell, which is packed with fibers that can contract to let that cell contract. Compare that with an immune cell, which uses the gene to make antibodies and needs to be able to move. So you can see these cells all look very different from each other because they're using different genes and they have different functions. But they all came from a stem cell that could have become any of these things. How? By activating or using only certain genes and turning off, typically permanently, other genes. Once a cell differentiates, it's permanent. An immune cell can't go back to being a stem cell. A muscle cell can't go back to being a stem cell and then become an epithelial cell. Its path is set. There are some cells called adult stem cells that are only partially set. They can make several cell types, but they can't make any cell type. That makes embryonic stem cells the least specialized and have the most potential to become any cell type. So what makes a stem cell unique? It can become any cell type. How many specialized cells did this stem cell develop? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And how is the adult stem cell different from the embryonic stem cell? It can become several cell types, but not all. Let's look at some of those differentiated examples a little bit more closely. We're going to drag the name and the function. And we're going to start over here. This is in a plant cell, and we've got two cell types that we're looking at. One is xylem, and one is phloem. And if you'd like, you can definitely make this in present mode so that you can see these images a little bit better. The second plant cell type that we're going to look at is phloem, which is misspelled here. Let me fix that. There we go. Now, both of these are found in what's called a plant's vein and are used to transport things. But what they transport is different, so their structure is different. Xylem transports water, and so xylem is made mostly of cells that have been allowed to die and form an empty tube, but phloem transports sugars. They go in opposite directions, and their structures are different. Hemoglobin molecules are found in red blood cells, which is what you see here. A red blood cell has this typical kind of donut shape. It's packed with hemoglobin molecules, and those hemoglobin molecules allow it to carry oxygen. Compare that with this blood cell, which is not packed with hemoglobin, and it's instead a kind of colorless cell. Hemoglobin is what gives the red blood cell its color. This colorless blood cell is called a white blood cell, and it has an important job too. It is the cell that is going to create antibodies, which it will use to fight off pathogens. We've talked about that before. Moving on down, we have this cell in its relaxed and contracted form. What is that? It's a muscle cell. It looks kind of like a worm, but it's not. Although worms are a great analogy, if you think about how a worm moves by contracting and then relaxing, very similar to a muscle cell. This crazy looking cell is a nerve cell. sometimes called a neuron, and it has these branching extensions, dendrites and axons, to help it transmit messages quickly and efficiently. And then finally, we have the sperm cell, which is adapted with its flagella because it's got to move to find the egg cell, and then it's got this special tip here that allows it to penetrate the egg cell so that it can dump the chromosome copies that it has there in the cell. Now, if the muscle cell and the nerve cell, these two down here, came from the same human, they, yes, would have identical DNA, but they would use very different genes. That's why they look so different. That's why they do such different things. And which two cell types came from plants? They're the xylem and phloem. Xylem carrying water in the plant, and phloem carrying food or sugars produced in photosynthesis. Our last topic is one that describes cells that have gotten out of control during the replication process. So basically what happens is a cell is supposed to stop dividing when it hits a barrier like another cell, or it's only supposed to divide when it gets the go-ahead signal as a hormone from a cell that's releasing that to say it's okay to divide now. Cancer cells either have a problem with the gene that tells them when to stop or when to start. So they divide out of control. Watch this video by the Amoeba sisters to better understand the cell cycle and how that contributes to cancer cells. And remember, because cancer cells are caused by problems with genes, often that can be caused by a mutation in that gene. We've talked about mutagens before, things that cause DNA mutations. If that mutation happens in a gene that is supposed to control the cell cycle, then the cell cycle either starts too often or doesn't stop when it's supposed to. Carcinogens are mutagenic agents that have been shown to cause cancer. And so they are a special kind of group of mutagens, if you will. Basically, cancer cells are doing too much mitosis. And when they do that, they form a clump of cells that aren't functioning properly that we call a tumor. And some of those cells can even break away and move to other parts of the body where they will form new tumors, taking up nutrients and space and damaging the cells around them. The last slide is a review slide. You're going to use these labels to fill in the blanks. To help you, I've given you the first letter for each blank. I don't have time to go through these, but I will move the answers and you can come back after you've attempted yours and pause the video to check and make sure you got them correct. Did you go through and fill in the blanks? If so, you can pause the video here and check your answers. I hope this is helpful. Have a great day.